Have you ever finished a meeting and wished that you'd made a better contribution? So often when we talk about effective meetings, we focus on the meeting organizer, the person who is planning it and bringing it all together. But what about everyone else? What if you could be a better meeting attendee? What difference could that make, I wonder? My name is Niamh Moynihan. I'm the founder of Better Workday, and today I want to talk to you about how to be a better meeting attendee. The first thing that we have to do when we're going to a meeting is understand why we're there. Have you ever been in a meeting and halfway through you're wondering, what am I doing here? It's usually on point 17 of the agenda, you've zoned in a few times and you're trying to refocus to get back in the zone for the last 20 minutes. Now, I've done this, which is why I'm asking you the question. And I think everyone who I've ever worked with has done this. But what if we asked that question just before the meeting started instead of halfway through? So whether you're walking down the corridor and you're getting ready to log in online, that you stop and you say, what am I doing here? Are you there to make a decision? Are you there to listen? Are you there to provide an alternative perspective? Are you there to learn? Are you there to fill in for somebody else and when you have to relay information? Why are you there? If you're not sure why you're there, ask. And I don't mean ask just as the meeting kicks off, because that's definitely a way to derail the whole session. I mean, as soon as you get the invitation, if you don't understand why you're being invited, just ask. Honestly, people would rather start their meeting knowing that everyone is there and aware of their purpose and to be on the same page than to go into a meeting wishing and hoping that everybody is there and on the same page. So, step one, know why you're there. Now, step two is all about being in the meeting. So I want you to make sure that you are listening, that you are contributing as best you can, and that you're not the person who I used to be, which is the one that derails everything and interrupts everyone. So in order to be a better listener, we have to be less distracted. Now, I have been guilty of scrolling while in a meeting, usually when it's on a talking point that I'm not that interested in or I don't know if I'm needed for. And you know yourself, an email pops up or something flashes on my phone or, something else is on the mind. So you think that you're just going to do a quick little task. And then all of a sudden it's 7 minutes later and you're wondering what you missed. So we've all done it. I know that and you know that. And that's okay for us as the attendee. But I bet you've also been the meeting organizer, knowing that you're doing your best to run a great meeting and no one is listening. And that's just not nice, and no one likes to feel that way, and we can change that. So in order to be a better meeting attendee, what I recommend you do is push back your chair so that you can't reach your keyboard or your phone, and then you'll be less likely to go for them. Right? Not that difficult. Try it and let me know if it helps. And while you're there, push back a little bit and more engaged, perhaps you're going to take some notes. Now, I'm a huge fan of note-taking during meetings. It's not just for the person who's meant to be taking the official minutes or keeping that record to share out to everyone else. We should all be taking notes because it helps you to stay focused, it helps you to retain the information, it's a great reference for afterwards, and it can help you not be the interrupter. So for years, I would be the one to interrupt meetings. I would go in with my best intentions, but as soon as I had an idea or a question or some thought crossed my mind, I would interrupt and lead us all off track. I didn't do it intentionally. I am an external thinker. So that means that when I have an idea or a thought, I find it easier to process it and get clarity by speaking aloud rather than thinking it through. And while it's helpful for me to do that, I know it's not helpful for everyone else. So what I found was writing down those thoughts as they came into my mind, whether it's a question or an idea, helped me to externalize it without interrupting the flow. And then when it comes to the Q&A part or the contribution part of the meeting, I was prepared. So it really is a win-win. So when you're taking your notes, It's not just notes on what other people are saying, it's also on what you are thinking. And if you really want to know how I do it, well, it's very, very basic. If someone else is saying something and I think it's important, I do a dash and write the note down. Then if I decide it's extra important, I turn that dash into a star. Told you this was easy. If I have an idea, I put a little exclamation mark at the start just so that I can scan through my notes and see it more easily. And if I have a question, you guessed it, I start it with a question mark. This allows me to manage my notes quite easily and participate quite fluidly in the meeting. I'm not sifting through everything I've written down to find my point. And this is an easy way for you to be a better, more organised contributor, regardless of what your role in the meeting is. Now, I don't know about you, but the one thing I used to dread about meetings was the work I'd get out of them, because there was rarely a meeting that wouldn't have an action associated with it. But part of that dread, I think, was because I didn't have the time set aside to do the actions. I already knew I wouldn't have time. And so I was kind of going in there with a sense of dread. Whereas when I was able to schedule meeting action time in advance, I went in with a much, I suppose, more open mindset. I was more willing to help and to take things on because I knew I had the space to do it. So if you can set aside time in advance of the meeting, you can block it out in your calendar and maybe the same day or the day after, brilliant, do that. And then understand what your actions are, be crystal clear on them. What's the action? When's it due? And take care of it in that block of time you've set aside. I know that's not realistic for everyone. So if you can't do that, at least aim to try to take your action in the next 2 to 3 working days while everything is still fresh in your mind. And it just means that you're not having another thing hanging over you or staying around on that to-do list. The final thing I'd say on being a better attendee in a meeting is it's all about our mindset, I think. Like, imagine if everyone, whether this is 2 people or 20 people, went into a meeting wishing for success, right? Wishing that everybody would be engaged, that they would contribute really, really well, that they'd be a great listener, that we all wanted everyone to get the most out of the meeting, that we're all willing to help and to make it the best meeting that you've ever attended. Imagine the difference in the atmosphere, in how people interacted with each other. Wouldn't it be brilliant? And I know that you can't do that for every meeting all the time, every day of your working year. I know that, but maybe we can do it a little bit more often. And I just wonder what difference that would make and how much more meaningful and how more impactful our meetings will be. If you have any tips or advice on how to make a meeting more meaningful and more effective, I'd love to know them. So please let me know in the comments so I can learn from you and so others can learn from you as well. If you found this helpful, you can let me know by liking it, and even better by sharing it with someone who you know could be a great meeting attendee. Until next time, stay well and have a better workday.